Hello everybody, I'm just making this video here. I added lights to my Losi 5T. The reason for the video that I'm making is, as you all know, this is the bind and drive version. It comes with the sr3300t receiver. Long story short, it's a 3-channel receiver. I had my Killer RC Super B kill switch tied into my auxiliary channel so I can remotely shut my truck down. And I had, as I mentioned before, my video for the Super B kill switch, I had also purchased the 5-wire splitter because the receiver box in the 5T is too small to house the kill switch, so it has to be located to the battery box. So I have 4 open channels that I can run any like obviously I have my lights tied into it, or things like that. Whatever you would like to tie into it that you want to have permanently powered. All right. So this being the 3300T receiver, it has a little magic trick. This particular receiver was also featured in a truck called the Losi 10T. The Losi 10T offered the RAW system, the remote operated starting system. So if you look at an sr3300t receiver, it is a 3-channel receiver. However, the bind port is also a momentary switch. Because it allows you to momentarily power something up or send a signal. So what I did in my truck is I bought a turnigy receiver controlled on-off switch. If anybody wants a separate video on how this gets wired up, it's pretty simple. Leave a comment below and I will do that. It's actually fairly simple to wire up. So what I did is I used a Y harness. I plugged the battery power into the bind port, which is also the power, and then I plugged on the other half of the Y, I plugged my Super B kill switch. Now, if you have a Spectrum DX3S that came with most of these trucks with the 3300T receiver, i.e. the Losi, original Losi XXL Nitro powered, obviously the 10T, and I'm honestly not too sure what other vehicles Losi put out with the 3300T as stock. I know there's a couple others, I just don't know off the top of my head. So, with that said, if you are using a Spectrum DX4S 4R or a 4-channel pistol grip radio, here's what you have to do to allow you to access the remote start feature or access the ROS system on the 3300T. So basically, you would go into your go down to settings. You guys can see I'm watching. Go down to system. Go down to RS port. As you can see, I have it on bind, but you can hear it right now, my thing going on because I just changed it. Go back to bind, and there you go. So basically what that means, here's my ROS button. I also have this being, because this was originally my auxiliary 1, this is now my ROS channel. So if I push this, here I just killed my engine. Now again, the second you let go, it reactivates it. It doesn't matter because all you have to do, like I said, the ROS button works like a momentary switch. Second you touch it, it holds in. But if you just give it a quick tap, I'm sorry, it's resetting. Hang on, give it 5 seconds. So if I give it a quick tap, all I have to do is just touch it once and it'll kill the engine. You don't have to have it wired into a 2-channel. So my auxiliary 1, my aux channel, is now here and it's controlling the turnigy switch. So now I can control my lights off of my switch like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a closer look and show you how I wired this up. I'm not going to do a full-blown like how I wired it. If you guys would like a separate video on that, I will do a separate video, and I will do much more in depth on how I wired everything up with the Y harness. And if you guys have any other questions about what I mean with the switch, or what I mean about the wiring up to the bind RS port for your kill switch, theoretically speaking, you are turning the 3300T from a 3-channel to a 4-channel radio. I'm sorry, a 4-channel receiver. But it's not a 4-channel receiver in a sense like you can run like a separate servo off it, because again, it works just as a momentary switch. It's on or off. So you would physically have to hold the button in. However, really quick, let's just say you wanted to make like a servo to lift something, i.e. maybe a dump bed for your high lift, you can have it do that. But other than that, you can't run like a separate like rear steer or something like that off it. It's just, again, it's a momentary switch. It's on, off. And it's not like if you hold it on, it stays on. You have to physically hold it in. Okay. So let me pull the lid off, and you guys can get a closer look of how I wire this in. Again, this is just going to be a brief walkthrough. I'm not going to go super in depth on this. I'm going to give you a basic look of how I did this. So here's the truck. So I'm going to pull. Now in here is a 3300T. Right here is my Y harness. It plugs into the bind port. If I can move that wire. I don't know if you can see it. There's a shadow. Come on. Bind. Basically what it says is bind RS. There we go. That's kind of... well, whatever. It says bind /RS. RS meaning remote start. So, here's my Y. It's plugged into the bind port. Come on. You don't want to focus. There we go. Plugs into the bind port. Right here is the power. This is the power coming in. And the other half goes down to my Super B kill switch. Everything is housed inside. Let me cover this light, it's kind of bright. Everything is housed inside of the receiver box. Inside of this receiver box, so right here, focus, right there is my 5-channel splitter. It's kind of hard to see. Again, I'm not going to go too in depth, but in here is the Super B kill switch, and also the turnigy switch, and everything is just. I took this whole box out and I ran the wires underneath it because I want it to look factory, and I don't like a mess of wires. Same thing with the wires under here. I try to do it the best I can. I have the wires coming under the shock tower. They go down under the bulkhead. I have them tied up to the diff away from any rotating drive shafts or steering knuckles or blocks. The wire comes out and then it plugs, goes under my chassis brace and back over under. So I try to make everything as clean as possible. It's hard to do on this truck. The reason why I did not want the lights on all the time was they're LEDs, so they don't draw a whole bunch of energy from the battery, but they're still drawing power. Now, mind you, although, yes, during the day, people might think that they're not that bright, but when this truck is coming at you with the lights on, it actually is. It's pretty bright, and they're small LEDs, but if the truck is bouncing, believe me, they get in your eyes, and sometimes they obscure your vision, and you don't want anything obscuring your vision. It's kind of cool now. You can kind of like flash someone out of your way if you wanted to get them out of your way. But that's basically what I wanted to do. I wanted the ability to turn the lights on and off. I did not want them on all the time. But basically, just before I let you go, I'll give you a quick rundown. So anybody, I forgot to mention, these lights, they're not Rovens. They're actually from a company called, I found them on eBay, YY-Mad Max. And actually, it wasn't bad. It was 19 bucks for those lights. Housing, everything, housing, Y harness, the wiring, everything for $19 plus $2 and I think $2.95 for shipping. It was like 22, almost 23 bucks, give or take, just under 23 bucks to my door. Awesome. Everything on this truck is fairly stock. The only aftermarket thing I have on here is obviously this would be kill switch and a Victory big bore pipe. I also have orange silverback bead locks, 9.4 Losi springs, stock steering servo. I burned it out in the last race. Actually, that race that I posted online at RC Hobbies and More, I burnt that servo out. I just picked up a new servo on eBay. I have a Spectrum high torque in it, but it's so, for basically, it's, I kind of took it out because it's so expensive. I'm worried about burning it out. It's like $220 for the servo, so I'm really worried about burning it. So I just ran the stock one. I paid 70 bucks for it. It works fine for what I do with it. Other than that, obviously, I also just picked up a it's in the mail now, from the same company that made the headlights, the YY Mad Max, a pull starter. I saw it on eBay for $9. Are you fucking kidding me? Even if it lasts 4 times, it's worth it. I mean, the stock pull starter, I think the stock pull starter on this is like 28 bucks. So if I can have a backup pull start with shipping for under $11, fuck yeah, I did that. All right, guys. Other than that, if there's any questions on how I wired anything up, or if you want, again, if you want a more in-depth look of how I wired everything, or if you would like me to explain the whole RS bind port, making this basically a 4-channel, let me know. Oh, and if you do have, again, if you have the DX3S, I mentioned it, but I never touched on it. You don't have to change anything like I showed you on the DX4S, 4R. You don't have to set anything to activate your ROS channel, because the DX3S is already set up. The back ROS button is already set up to communicate with the bind port in the receiver. So if you already have that, if you have that radio and you want to do something like I did, it's just your kill switch is going to be the button, the ROS button on the back of your DX3S. This button right here would be your kill switch. So I have the F button. So that's my kill switch. But I also selected the ROS to be my the A button, which I had as auxiliary 1 as well. So, all right, guys. Any other questions? Feel free to leave a comment, questions, anything you want down below. I'll try to answer the questions the best I can. And if I get enough comments that I can't answer well, I'll just post a different video explaining it a lot better. Hopefully I got my point across of what I was trying to make. I know sometimes when you're making a video, you try to explain one thing and you end up talking about half a dozen other ones that meant nothing about what you were trying to talk about. But hey, with that said, that's it. So we'll see you later. And that's it. Later, guys. Oh, and by the way, you don't have to worry about the whole thing. Like I said before, if you turn the radio off, it still kills the engine. It still goes full brake and anything like that, so you don't lose any of those fail-safes in case you lose receiver voltage. So everything that I spoke about in the last video about the Super B kill switch, putting into the ROS channel, the bind channel, doesn't change any of that. All right, guys. Later.